That's another clarification which I thought was important. All right. Quickly going over the theme. Theme remains the same for your turncode format as well. This means that the Hydra snare, it's been explained to dramatic adaptation people before. Let me do it for you guys as well. So basically what the Hydra snare entails is this idea of, I mean, there are two words, right? Like think of it like this. We're just trying to break it down for somebody who does not understand Hydra snare because they don't have any Greek background, like any understanding of what Greek mythology is like. Snare is one word, Hydra is another word. Break them down. Okay. So Hydra borrows itself from like Greek mythology. It's this creature which is a many-headed serpent. Can you guys quickly put a response in the chat to this question? How many um, animals can you think of which are venerated in Hindu mythology because they feature in mythological texts? Okay, lots of responses. All of us might not know all of them, which is fine. This is what diversity is about. But yeah, I think basic we all understand, right? Like Sarp we understand is a snake, and Nandi we understand was a cow. Hanuman is again. Okay, Pashuraj, I'm not too sure of. I think this is a bird, and yeah, the lion. Okay. Okay, so a lot of people are saying Naga though. So the best way to understand Hydra is to think about Naga, right? So in Hindu mythology, you have Naga. It's again a many-headed serpent, right? And it's related to Lord Krishna and to Vishnu as well. So just incarnations of gods. So basically, Hydra is a lot like Naga. It's just that this is Greek mythology and that is some other, that is Hindu mythology, right? Now, another important thing to understand here is that why we are using this imagery of the Hydra is because first of all, the Greek culture is a lot about philosophy and education. And in the sense that Greek culture is where a lot of the theory started from. If you look at a lot of the origin of like the English words as well, you will see that it has like a Greek origin, right? Or a Latin origin. So these were very old civilizations. So there are people like Plato, philosopher, a Greek philosopher. There's people like Aristotle. There's people like Socrates. All of them have like a major influence on what education systems should be like. What are they like now? And we still study them, right? So this is why we are using Greek mythology as like a theme. But another reason for why we have Greek mythology in the first place is because it simplifies the format for you. So for instance, if I were to just tell you that, oh, the format is, I'm sorry, the theme is multifarious sources of education, I think it's slightly more difficult and more boring to understand the theme from that perspective, where you just put in very heavy words that some people might not understand, like multifarious, right? So, or sources of education. Multifarious is just broken down into this idea of Hydra then. Because Hydra is basically multifarious in the sense that it has multiple heads. So these multiple heads of the Hydra, I can't draw a Hydra because no artistic skills, but I can just give you a very vague semblance. So if these are the heads, these could also be likened to the sources of education, right? So like first head could be the parents, the other head could be the teachers, the other head could be your life experiences, the other head could be cartoons that you watch or like web series that you watch on Netflix, the other head could be YouTube, and the other head could be the games that you play. All of these things teach you something in life, which means that these are sources of education. So should we have many sources of education? If we have these many sources of education, should we break them down and simplify them, or should we use all of them to make the best of the given opportunities that we have? Those kinds of questions are like going to be dealt with in this tournament through the theme of like the Hydra. That's the point. But the other word that you have here is the snare, right? Snare is mostly a negative connotation, right? Sometimes we say that I'm ensnared by their performance from last night. So like that's different. Like when somebody like presents a poetry piece of poetry, or like when somebody does something and you're impressed by them and they have a stage, you don't, so they are in the limelight, you're impressed by them, you want to be like them. That's a different kind of a snare. But the kind of snare that we're talking about here is the kind of coil that like a snape is associated to. So you're basically like When you're ensnared by something, when there's so many like heads on a serpent, it can be both good and bad depending on what this hydra is like, or what kind of like a characteristic it has, what kind of characteristics it has. So all of that will be explored. So through the idea of snare, I'm basically trying to say that you are supposed to explore the nature of hydra. Can we make the best use of these many heads, or should we say that these many heads are bad? That is the idea of a snare. You are supposed to think how I can link it to the hydra, right? That is your creative ability. And you're supposed to think about what snare is supposed to mean. Can it be positive or is it always negative? So what is the connotation? Connotation is it positive or negative? What is the creature like? Hydra. Again, question you should ask yourself. Does many heads always mean that it's a bad creature, or does it mean it can also be good? Where does it come from? As in read a little bit about Greek mythology, like Plato, Aristotle, that will help you. All right. Cool. I think I'm done with theme clarification. With all of that said, put your question in the chat quickly, which are related to theme. Good question. Do we have to link the topic to Hydra? Not always. This is just for you to understand what the theme is. You don't always have to say talk about Hydra in every topic. Please remember, you do not have to talk about. Please mute yourself. Yeah, you do not have to talk about Hydra in any like of the topics if you don't want to. Cool. Are we going to get a topics based on this theme? Yes, yes, you will. Do we have to learn its history? Not so much. If you want to read about it, if you're curious, yes, it will help, but it's not compulsory. Not the history of Hydra, just Greek mythology in general. Do we have to include Hydra snare? No, you don't have to. We have to prepare on the theme Hydra snare, or will different topics will be given to you, which are within the theme. You're not supposed to describe the creature at all, Chelsea. How do we have to relate the topic with the theme? You don't have to. The topic will be very specific. Like this house will ban homeschooling. This house will ban uh, the use of iPads or like tablets in classrooms. So this is not related to the Hydra directly, but still talks about education, right? So you don't have to link it to the topic. When are we gonna get the topics tonight? Is it like topic for final day or for practice? For qualifiers on 17th. Can we mention the creature in a speech? Yes, you can mention. It's optional. When will we get emotions tonight? What kind of topics we will get? You will see tonight. Time for a speech. I will explain that in some time. Didn't understand the Hydra's relation to snare. So basically, a Hydra is a snake, right? It's a serpent. It can ensnare you. But ensnare can have both positive and negative meaning. Ensnare as in you like it a lot, so you're ensnared from afar. For example, when I see somebody performing really well, like a favorite artist, I say that I'm ensnared by their performance. They were too good. That's voluntarily being like impressed by somebody. But ensnare in some other word also means that you are held captive. So this is about interpreting the Hydra. Is a snare a good thing or a bad thing, like that? So basically, we just have to link it to Hydra and speak on the theme. Yeah. When will we get our teams? Shortly. How many topics will we get? 3 topics for 3 different rounds of qualifiers. Everybody is supposed to play all 3 rounds of the qualifiers, regardless of wins and losses. How long do we talk for? I will explain. When will the rounds be conducted? On 17th. I did not understand the connection between Hydra and education. Yeah, please watch the recording. I think I've already also explained it once more. Those who have the qualifiers on 25th will get different topics, right? Yes, that's right. What is going to happen in mock? That is for tomorrow. Please stick to the training session. I did not understand the connection between Hydra and education. Again, I've explained. Can you explain more about the qualifiers? What about it? Ask specific questions, Satakshi. Okay. Moving on. You can keep putting your questions in the chat. We will address them later. Now look at, okay, dramatic adaptation is from yesterday. Turncoat. In this format, what you're basically supposed to do is that you will be given a topic which can be debated on from both the sides. Okay. So ban I'm writing ban DD. So DD is just short for digital devices. Okay. So ban digital devices in classrooms. You can go for it and you can go against it. Okay. So like I can say yes, you should ban digital devices because they are a distraction. And I can go against because I can say that look, you can watch videos with the teacher on your tab and whatnot. It makes it the classes more interesting. This means that there is like you can debate on from both the sides on this topic. Topics of this kind will be given to you, which are first of all related to education, but secondly, they are debatable from both the sides. So you can't say that, oh, my topic is not debatable from the other side. I can't think about an argument from opposition. I can only think about argument from proposition. Try to think about arguments. There are, I assure you, there will be arguments from both the sides. All right. Now, in this format, Sharayu, why do you have your hand raised? You're supposed to put your question in the chat. Okay. In this format, the speaker speaks from both the sides for equal amounts of time, right? What does that mean? Basically, first learn the time duration that you have on yourself as a specific category, guys. So look at this. For juniors, juniors are not here with us, so we don't have to care about juniors right now. They are in a different call. Middle category will talk for 4 minutes. All right. Seniors are talking for 6 minutes. How do you divide this time of yours? If you are supposed to speak for equal amount of time from both the sides. Basically, if I have a motion, Nitya, stop scribbling on the screen. If I have a motion and I have to speak from both the sides, I have to divide the time that I have strategically. How do I find that strategy? Let's say you have 4 minutes. This means you have 4 minutes in its entirety. You can be given additional 20 seconds only. Okay. So 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 20 seconds is additional, after which you will be downmarked. So basically 4 minutes. How do you divide these 4 minutes in a meaningful way so that you can spend equal amount of time from both the sides? When I'm speaking for the motion, I will use 1.5 minutes. And when I'm speaking against the motion, I will speak for 1.5 again. And when I have to, in the last minute, I will conclude. How much does that make it? 3, 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3, plus 1 minute for conclusion. Am I making sense? Just quickly write yes in the chat if you understand what I mean by time management. All right, 27 people are saying they understand. So let's just assume that everybody else is understanding too. Cool. Same thing for the senior category. The duration is slightly different, so the distribution will be different as well. I will keep aside a minute for conclusion. So 2.5 for, 2.5 against, and 1 minute for conclusion. With that will give you your 6 minutes. Again, 20 seconds additional if you want to wrap things up. But then another legit question to ask is, how do I time myself so carefully? Like, what if it's not 2.5? What if it's like 2 minutes and let's say 40 seconds? That's fine. I mean, I'm not talking about seconds, right? So if it's 2.5, it can also be like slightly overboard in terms of a few seconds. But you can't speak from for the motion for 3 minutes and like against the motion for only 1 minute. That's an obvious discrepancy for which you will be downmarked. Another good way of dealing with this problem is this. And this is a really good strategy which nobody would tell you about because, yeah, I mean, not everybody thinks about turncoat format in the same way, but I think this really helps. It's helped me when I went for turncoat debates. So when you're thinking about like when you get the motion, what should you do with it, right? The moment you get a motion like tonight, please do not do Google search right off the bat. Think about the motion. Write the motion on top on a page. Divide the page into two halves. This page is for arguments and this page is for the opposition arguments. First, make an argument for, okay? Always. So let's say my argument is something, right? Like ABC, whatever the argument is. I will also, the argument that I will make against now should be the argument that reverts the argument that I have made in for. Okay? Again, when I come up with a second argument on 4, let's say x, y, z, I will make an argument on against which rebuts this argument on against. Why am I saying you should do this? You should do this because it really impresses the adjudicator to see that this person is capable of rebutting their own argument that they made only 2 minutes ago. It's a very meaningful strategy. Try doing it. All right. But it's even if you don't want to impress the adjudicator, I think it's meaningful because it gives you the ability to maintain a coherence, a symmetry. What do you think symmetry means, guys? Can you please give me a response in the chat? What do you think symmetry means?
A structure.
Nobody will unmute, please. Just put it in the chat, whatever you think symmetry means. Balance, okay. Equilibrium, same on both sides, all right. Balance, right, okay. Yeah, so symmetry is basically that if you have like the a cutout flower, okay. So like with origami or whatever, if you fold it in half, it should have the same structure on this side and that, like a butterfly, right? So this side is exactly like that side. That's symmetry. That's what you're supposed to follow in the turncoat format as well. Whatever you say on for, it should be the same kind of structure on against as well. Otherwise, it seems like you have more arguments on for and less arguments on against, or you're more confident on against and less confident about for. It hurts your case. So basically, what you need to do is that you have to have, first of all, argument and on for and rebuttal on against, and you have to have a structure numerically also. Like if there are two arguments on for, you will also develop two arguments on against. It should never be an imbalance of, let's say, 5 arguments on for and 2 arguments on against, because I could think of more arguments here and less arguments there. Not like that. Whoever understands this, please quickly write yes in the chat. This is very important if you want to do well in turncoat format, by the way. So please go back and watch the recording if something's still unclear and ask questions in the chat. All right. While people who have already understood things, they can ask me questions in the chat if they have any. I am meanwhile explaining all of this through an example, okay? Now look at this example. If the topic is that money cannot buy happiness, if this is, oh God, just 1 second. Yeah. If the topic is that money cannot buy happiness, you can speak for and against on this, right? Now, what I will do in here is that I will, okay, for the motion, I'm saying money cannot buy happiness because, yeah, things like love, things like satisfaction, things like physical, like health and well-being are not purchased with money. If I have to rebut this argument on against, I will say that sure, it might seem like health and love cannot be bought with money, but without money, people cannot give you healthcare, right? Because everybody wants you to pay a certain amount, foot your medical bills to get yourself to remain healthy. So money in that sense can buy you health, because if you have money, you will go for regular checkups. Poor people don't go for regular checkups because they want to save their money and they think spending it in like regular checkups is a waste of time. So basically, money gives you a quality of life.
Hello, good evening.
Using which Gurpreet, I'm sorry, whoever that is, could you please just like unmute yourself and put whatever you have in the chat, because we are in the middle of a session and the ground rules. So basically, what you're doing here is that quality of life is better when you have money, which means that your healthcare is also going to be better. And satisfaction in life also comes from health and like being able to make friends, and all of that comes when you have a financial stability. So what am I doing here? I'm making an argument on for, and then I'm trying to rebut the same argument when I'm going against. That way you will never feel like, oh, I have an argument on for but I don't have like an argument in against. Because when you have an argument on for, you know that you only have to rebut the argument on for to get an argument on against. So this means that it will always be a balance when you try to rebut your own points from for. All right. Opening the floor for questions now for the next 5 minutes. I will let you guys put in your questions and I will get back in like a minute. I'll just fetch myself a glass of water. Okay, quick clarification before I address your questions one by one. I will not clear any doubts about WSDC format or dramatic adaptation format in this session. This session is only for the turncoat people, and you should not take away their space like that. Please join in your session to ask questions about your format. This is only for turncoat people. All right. Do we have to present each side of the argument in one go, or we can go back and forth? No. So basically, first you will complete your case for the motion, and then you will move to against. So it's not back and forth. You first speak for the motion for 1.5 minutes or 2.5 minutes, depending on the time you have. So basically, okay, this is me clearing Mukta's doubt in detail because you might be confused. So when you, okay, this is the structure. 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 1. This means that in the 2.5 minutes that you have for 4, you're supposed to speak, like, say, all of your arguments on 4. So, like, if you have 3 arguments on 4, then say all of them in this early 25, the 2.5 minutes that you have. Once you've made all of these arguments, then you switch stance and say, now I will be speaking against. And then you rebut all of these 3 arguments in the same chronology. So this argument will be rebutted first, this second, and this one at last. Like that. Cool. Moving on. So we were at Mukta's question. Hi, Devika, are you here?
Yes, Nitiksha, tell me.
Would it be possible for you to like
Read the questions.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I'll just do that. So the last question you took was?
Mukta's. This is a question that came to us at 6:25, Mukta's.
Yeah,
Then
I'm just checking that. 6:25 you said, right? Yeah, okay. So then we have the conclusion has to be for or against the topic by Suhani.
right. So the conclusion has to be a balance. You're saying you're speaking for and against. So it doesn't like the adjudicator doesn't know like what your final stance is. So for example, money can't buy happiness. When I'm concluding, I will say that money can't buy happiness, and then I'm going to say that money can buy happiness. Towards the end, I will say that look, money is important, but it's not God. So like it's not all important. It's not enough of an incentive for you to like hurt your family, hurt your friends for money. So like I've created a balance now, right? I'm not saying that money should be just completely let go of, but I'm also not saying that money should be pedestalized. So I struck a balance there. So that's what you're supposed to do. That okay, money is important, but within limits. So in the conclusion, you're supposed to strike a balance.
Okay, so the next is which grades are middle and senior. So grade 7 to 9th are middle and 10 to 12th are seniors. By Jasmita, we have will we get the topic on the spot or prior?
The topics will be given by tonight, please rest assured.
Devanshi is asking how many people shall qualify for the qualifying round. Okay.
That's irrelevant right now. It depends on the
Yeah.
number of people who are going to come in. So that will be shared later.
Okay. Gayatri is asking, are we allowed to give our personal opinion or do we need to remain factual?
You're allowed to give your opinion. You should have logic to back it up. So basically, I can say that money can't buy happiness as long as I can prove that. I can say that look, this person has had a lot of money, but they had to die alone because of how self-important they were. So like you can't only make it about facts as well. So it has to be a fine balance of reason and facts.
Okay, then Arya is asking, will we have to speak for 6 minutes or each of the
ले लो
topic?
आपका फोन मैंने क्लास ज्वाइन की
Yeah, basically you have 3 rounds, and in each round you will be given a topic, and on that topic you're supposed to speak for 6 minutes, for, against, and conclusion. So yeah, basically you're talking for 16 to 3, 18 minutes across 3 rounds.
So we are only sticking to turncoat questions for the moment, so we won't be answering any of the WSGC ones.
Yeah.
Next up we have is 1.5 minutes for the positive side and 1.5 minutes for the negative side. So what's for rest 1 minute?
Conclusion, I told you very specifically.
Okay. Okay, Ashmi is asking, will we be allotted our part? Okay, this is WSDC.
What are
Okay, so Athar asked, do we have to say all the points in one go and after that all the against points, or we say simultaneously?
no, no, not simultaneously. Please don't be mistaken. In one go for, then in one go against, and then the conclusion. Very clear cut structure.
So basically, you have to think about the same topic for two sides.
That's right.
Turncoat is an individual event, right? Yes, that's correct. Okay. Is 4 minutes mandatory or less is okay?
4 minutes is mandatory because it's like really less time. Like you really don't have the scope of speaking for less than 4 minutes.
Okay, everyone, turncoat is a solo speech. It's not to be done in group. Can we read from our notes?
You can refer to your notes, you can't read from them. Reading means you're not taking your eyes off the paper. That's not allowed. Referring means I look at a point, I articulate what that point means on the spot without the aid of the paper.
In the conclusion, can we present our experience, which is a balanced one?
Yes,
Is it compulsory to use the time parameters you have given, or can we use our own?
absolutely compulsory to use the time parameters.
How do we know which topic to focus more on?
You have to focus on all three topics equally because they will have equal marks. Each topic, each speech that you will give will be marked out of 30, and then your average will be taken out of 90. So you have to do well in every round. So focus on all the topics.
Okay, then we have, is there a dress code which needs to be followed?
Not really.
All the 3 rounds will be conducted on the same day.
Yes.
Will we have to memorize all of our speeches?
Yeah, like you can have points to refer to, you can't read it off a page. So however you want to do it, you can.
How are we going to stick to one opinion of ours if we debate from both sides?
You're not supposed to, okay, the turncoat format is supposed to get you to think from both the sides. So the idea is not to like listen to your opinion so much. It's about getting you to think from both the sides so that you are like a smarter individual after you have had some practice in the format. Turncoat helps you contemplate the situation from both the sides, like knowing both sides of the coin. So that's why you should just push yourself to think from the side which like you don't naturally agree with as well.
Okay, then we have, is it compulsory to follow the order of proposition as first and then opposition, or can it be vice versa?
It cannot be vice versa. And if you want to make it vice versa, then you have to make it very clear that panel I will first be starting with against, because most people will be going for first. So you might confuse the adjudicator, because of which your marks might be impacted.
Okay, then someone is asking, will there be rebuttals too?
No rebuttals, no. No interjection, no cross-examination, no rebuttals.
How many speeches do we have to give? That's 3, I suppose. Do we
Yeah,
need to
3
prepare
speeches.
on? Yeah, do we need to prepare on topics? Yes. Uh, can we write pointers on a page and then speak?
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hello,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
In turncoat, do we have to speak for and against in one go?
Yes, for a specific time and then switch to against and then conclude.
Like 1.5 minute for and 1.5 minute for against.
Yes, yeah. Also, please put your query in the chat. Everybody is doing the same, so we have to keep it a standard rule.
The another question which I see is, do we have to qualify for first round? Then the ones who go to qualify, the one who qualified goes to the next round and so on.
No. So the qualifiers are for everybody to participate in. Which means that even if you think that in the first round you have scored very badly, then you still have to participate in round 2 and round 3, because the average of these 3 rounds will be taken.
So So will questions be asked by the judge related to the topic? Yeah, I think those were the questions which were in the chat
Okay,
box.
thank you so much, Devika. All right. Um, moving on.
Excuse me, ma'am, I have a question, but you
So put
haven't
it in the
answered it.
chat. Put it
Yeah.
in the
Ma'am, I
chat.
put it in the chat twice.
Okay, unmute and ask.
Ma'am, my question is, can we write our pointers on the page and then speak?
This question has been responded to thrice. So please listen to the questions carefully. Yes, you can write pointers.
And everyone, please be on mute. I do see one very interesting question, Nitiksha ma'am, if we can just take it.
Right.
Can we take others' help for making these points?
Others, okay, here's the thing. You can have your parents help you if you're very young, if you're like in the junior category. But because nobody in this particular session is from the junior category, I don't expect you to take help. I mean, it's not advisable, it's not smart, it's not good, it doesn't help you like grow. So, I mean, if you want to take help, you will definitely end up taking it because I'm not going to come to your place and check. But you should not take help, ideally. You're old enough to think by yourself.
Yeah, that's all the questions. You can continue, ma'am.
All right. Cool. So quickly going through these important pointers, right? Make it a point to prepare your speech beforehand, but also practice it so that it is well timed. It's very important. This happened to me early on when I used to do a lot of turncoat format debates as well. I used to prepare my points, but I would never like time myself, because of which I will struggle with the timing issue. So always time yourself, record yourself so that you know that you are ending by this time, because switching becomes difficult when you haven't practiced like beforehand. So do that. Secondly, ensure that you are rebutting your points on for when you are against. I've already explained that at length. Add an interesting twist to the juncture where you switch your stance. This means that, okay, so let's say I'm going for, and for. So for one argument for, then second argument, then third argument. And now I'm done with my for side. I need to switch to against. Now, there are various ways of making this switch, right? Some people say that, okay, now I am done with my points about from the proposition side. Now I shall be talking about the points possible on the opposition side. That's a very boring way of saying things. So if you want to like make it exciting, if you want to grab people's attention, you should probably try doing like something creative for switching sides. For example, look at these statements, right? Panel, forget I ever said that. So some people say this. So they're saying, and then say, panel, forget I ever said that. It wasn't me. I'm having, because you're changing stance, right? You're necessarily becoming a different person altogether. So you have to like just smartly switch so that it doesn't seem like a very boring thing that now you're switching. But, or you could also say, now watch me rebut my own self, like things of that kind, just like smartly put. I do not quite know what possessed me for the last 2 minutes. I've seen people do that as well. So like you want to make it funny, right? You want to add a comical element because that keeps people interested and excited, and they're always looking forward to listen to you when you can give them something of like pertinent interest. So make sure you're doing all those things. Have equal number of arguments on both sides. Again, something I've clarified. This is related to symmetry. This is also related to symmetry. Use the last minute to conclude. Again, something that I've already explained at length. So when you receive this PDF, please remember that this is the slide where everything that got covered today has been summarized succinctly. The basis on which you get marked then, quickly, let's go through this. There's matter. Matter involves the content that you're using, right? What are you saying basically? There's various ways of going about this motion as to like money can buy happiness. I can say money can buy happiness and like give a few examples which like are boring and like not relevant. Or I can give really good analysis that okay, money cannot buy happiness in times of war, or uh, or maybe we can say that money might be useful when the economy is up and running, but in certain situations money does not do well. But then finding a unique situation when money does not do well, like talking about situations of crisis, talking about situations which not everybody will think about, are good ways of like approaching the motion, because everybody will come up with the same kind of arguments at the end of the day. How you differentiate yourself from the law, like from the lot, is think about new examples, right? Which people might not think about, or think about new situations. So that is what matter is about. How is this relevant to the topic? As in, whatever you're saying might be making a lot of sense, but are you relating to the topic that you're saying, that you have with on you, right? You can be saying that, oh, buying happy, like having good clothes makes you happy. But if you don't link this point back to the idea of money and how money gets you to buy fancy clothes, then I will not buy your point. Because sure, fancy clothes make you happy, maybe, or people like get some sort of like a therapy when they go shopping, some of them at least. So that can happen even by buying like cheaper stuff. So why should I link that back to like money? So those kind of linkages you're supposed to draw and analyze your arguments well. Quality of arguments is another parameter within matter. This means that again, arguments which are like everybody is running or arguments that are newer. So there are some people who adapt really well, right? Like I know that a lot of people have gone before me and they have said the same point, and I also had that point. But now that I know that everybody has run that point already and it's so boring, I will probably remove it on the spot and add a new point. So the best way to go about this is also to have not like 3 points from each side, perhaps design 5 points. So that even if you have to like abort one of these points because it's already run, then you can use this other point that you have. Like almost have like a storage of sorts for points so that you can easily uh, abandon some of the points that are already widely run. Also, don't scribble on my screen, guys, please. Cool. On to manner then. Manner is another parameter. So for matter, you get marked out of 10, right? So 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, like that. Manner is another criteria altogether. Again, you will get marked out of 10. It's quite important for you to be on camera to get like full 10 on 10 on manner. You will definitely not score well if you are not on camera, because your eye contact, the fact that you're not reading from a document, your expressions, all of that is like made available as data to the adjudicator only when you're on camera. So that's important. But also ethical conduct, as in not talking like derogatorily, like talking disparagingly about a community which you don't know enough about. Like we end up making very like careless remarks about people who we don't understand, or like the communities we don't understand, like I don't know, the Western community, African community. So don't do that, right? Because it might be like that's not a proper way of debating, it's not ethical. So those kind of things are also part of the manner at large. But method is the last parameter. Method is just basically how you organize your matter, right? You might have really good points, but what you might be doing is that you have one good argument, you're not analyzing it, you're just jumping from this argument to the second one. And then without analyzing the second argument, you're jumping from that to the third one. And towards the end, you're coming back to like the first one. Although your points were potentially good, you didn't make the best of them because of a bad method and strategy. So prioritize your arguments well. And method would also include like how much time you're spending on for and against. Is it like well distributed? Is there an equilibrium in your presentation? Who is this? Jasmita, please stop scribbling on my screen. So those kind of things are important for you to consider. Again, we will share the PDF, so you will have these parameters with you. Whenever you're preparing your speech, you can just come back to them and check if you're fulfilling all the parameters and if you're good with them. All right, I think with that, we've come to a successful fusion of the training session for the turncoat lot. If you have any questions, I'm going to quickly take them in the next 3 minutes, and then we'll move on to the WSDC lot. People who have joined from for WSDC, please stay back. We'll be starting shortly. All those from the turncoat format who do not have any questions can drop from the call now. And yeah, just have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Cool. Where should I take the new questions?
Hello, ma'am.
Please unmute, like mute yourself, whoever that is. Please put your question in the chat. Is the speech online and will they ask questions? Yes, the speech is online. No, there are no questions. Can we take others' help for making? Okay, this is already done.
Yeah, there's one question which I see is what does just 1 second. Okay, yeah. It says what does rhetorical questions mean? I don't know.
Rhetorical means that
Rhetorical.
rhetorical basically means like I ask you a question, but only for impact, not because I don't know the answer to that. For example, panel, can we live without water? Now, of course, you know we can't live without water, but you're just asking because you want to emphasize something, right? So we ask those kind of questions, right? Can you live without your loved ones? Can you study without being given the facility to? Or can a bird fly without its wings? Those kind of questions we ask not because we don't know the answer to them, but because we're trying to create an impact. So basically, that's what rhetorics are for. And yeah, you can use a little bit of rhetorical like questioning, but don't make it like the fulcrum of your arguments.
Yeah. So we also have another question saying, do we get extra marks for unique points?
Yeah, I mean, if the adjudicator likes your points, then why not? And
Uh,
unique points are always appreciated, so definitely yes.
what will be conducted tomorrow?
Uh, Practice drills. Please join in at 6 p.m. sharp.
How many topics will we get, and do we need to choose from the topics, and or the judge gives me the topic right there?
Okay, guys, for one final time, the topics will come out today, EOD, by tonight. You will have 3 rounds for which you have 3 different topics. You will be told which round will have which topic. You're just supposed to prepare on all of those 3 topics because you're supposed to present on all of those. So that's that. Whoever is asking about pace people have their qualifiers on 17th for sure. It's not changing. You get only
Okay.
3 topics, yes.
Yeah, there's another question which says, what if some of our points are same as the other person?
That's all right. But that's what I'm saying. You need to adapt. If you think that somebody's already used that point, you can just change it a little bit, give a newer example. Those kind of things. It's about adaptation skills.
Yeah, I think those were all the questions for turncoat.
Right. All right. Okay. Guys, please don't do any direct messages. I am flooded with messages on the public chat, so it's impossible for me to track. Okay. All the questions that I'm seeing which are coming up now are just like like outcome of some of you not listening attentively. So please go back to this recording for turncoat and clear your doubts. All right. People from the turncoat format, thank you for being so patient. And like, I wish you guys all the best. I'll see you tomorrow for the practice drills. People from the turncoat format are like good to drop now. It's only the WSDC format participants that should stay back for the next 45 minutes.
Excuse me.
No, it's not going to be one-on-one.
Excuse me.
Yes,
I've been
Pushti.
trying to ask some one question in the chat, but no one has answered it. How will we have 3 rounds in one day on 17th?
It's just 6 minutes, right? So like it's basically 18 minutes, or like for you, you're in grade 9th, which means middle category. So it's
Yeah.
basically 12 minutes for you. So we can easily have 3 rounds because 12 minutes is nothing, right?
So if we get qualified in first round, then only we'll go to second, right?
No, I've already clarified this. You are going to play in all the qualifiers rounds, regardless of what the outcome is.
Okay.
You're not going to be told your scores anyway. So you won't know if you're winning or losing or whatever.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, 124 participants with me now. Quickly, a show of hands on by people who are from the WSDC format. Okay, 42, 45, 50, 65. Quickly, guys. We're wasting time by this tallying, so just quickly get done with it. 75. What about the others?
Also, all those who are from the WSDC format, kindly rename yourself by your name followed by grade and then WSDC.
Yes. Okay. Lower your hands. Another question for which you'll have to raise them again. So lower everybody quickly. Fifteen of you still haven't lowered your hands. Please lower your hands quickly. Shivani, Ansh, Pranav, Samaira. All right. How many of you have participated in the past in the WSDC format? Honest show of hands. All right, not many, 16 people only. Okay, so we will make it a very beginner friendly session in which case. Give me 1 minute, I'll be back. Meanwhile, please settle down. Also, just be on camera for better engagement, right?
Hello, excuse me.
All right, I formally welcome you all to the training session for WSDC format. This is an interesting format, so I hope you guys have fun for whoever is a first timer. Not many of you are on camera, which is something I do not understand because it's just like literally 45 minutes. Others, please try being on camera. I'm not going to force, but it's only for your benefit because you're anyway going to have to be on camera during a tournament. So might as well get in the habit of it. All right. So basically, this is how I'm going to structure this particular session. I have slides to explain everything related to WSDC. I will go in a chronological order. Some housekeeping rules, which if you don't follow, it's going to be a problem. And we are slightly strict about it. Do not unmute yourself, no matter what. The most urgent question too has to go in the chat. We will definitely come back to it. Me and Devika, both of us will together resolve any doubts that you have. And we have like time kept aside for that in particular. So please don't be bothered with that. As for the questions that I ask you, sometimes I'm going to try to make this like session interactive. I'll be asking you questions. Please put your answers in the chat box the moment you hear the question. Do not unmute and ask or answer. All right. That's the only rule I have. That's the only rule I'd probably be annoyed with the flouting of. So please just be mindful of there being so many people in the call and the need to accommodate them all, which doesn't happen if you're unmuting yourself pointlessly. Cool. Starting then with the format. WSDC stands basically for World School Debating Championship, right? It's a very popular format, internationally renowned. Like a lot of prestigious debates happen in the WSDC format. Like Harvard has its annual event in the WSDC format. Then there's LSE that has its tournament in the WSDC format. There's CNSPO. There's a lot of famous universities. Even Yale and Princeton, like a lot of universities basically. So WSDC is a good format to like learn about basically. Besides that, how does it function? It's definitely a team game, right? So it's a team format. You cannot participate in it alone. This means that you will be allotted your teammates soon. So please do not ask any questions about that. If you haven't received your teammates, if you have some doubt about who your teammate is going to be, all of those questions should either go to hello ugly number, which Devika ma'am will put in the chat, or you are going to have to like wait for the teams to come out. Please do not like keep asking about very technical questions referring to like your teammates and whatnot. That's not what this session is for. This session is for you to understand the format, right? So yeah, team sport. What does that mean? There's like 3 people on one side and 3 people on the other side. So there's basically 2 sides confronting each other in a debate room with 1 or more adjudicators in the room, right? The adjudicator is an average reasonable voter. What does that mean? Average reasonable voter, as in you can't expect the adjudicator to be like very well versed with ideas of like law or international relations or science. You might have a specific interest. For instance, I have a specific interest in literature, but I can't expect everybody to know as much as I know about literature, right? This is what it means. Your educator is an average reasonable voter, which means they have rationality, they understand things. But if you tell, you have to explain what you're trying to convey. You can't just say that, oh, in literature, John Milton wrote Paradise Lost, and Paradise Lost got popular, which is why the other text should get popular as well if they're on theology. Now, I made this sentence, but most of you must not have understood a word of it because that's literature related. And if you don't know who Milton is, if you don't know what Paradise Lost is, if you don't have any idea of the biblical story of Adam and Eve, you will probably not understand this entire reference. This is what happens in debates as well. You need to respect the fact that your adjudicator is an average reasonable voter who's not going to understand complex things that you're going to tell them without having to explain what these concepts mean. This means that if you want to share some special knowledge, you should be able to analyze that, explain that, so that the adjudicator understands it. That's a very basic ground level rule about adjudicators. But how is the team made? Or like, how does the team function? Basically, you will be given motions by tonight, right? You will get your motions by tonight. That's another question I don't want, again, to come through the chat, right? Your motions come out tonight. So please note, I'm also writing it on the screen so that you don't miss it at all. Do not ask questions about the motions and when they're coming. Basically, in the WSDC format, you have 3 speakers on each side. There's proposition speaker 1. This means that the proposition side begins the debate. And they are called the prime minister, by the way. You can call them proposition speaker 1, or you can also call them prime minister. Then this is followed by opposition speaker 1, which is like the PM, exactly like the PM, right? So they are LO, leader of opposition. After the first speakers from both the sides come the second speakers from both the sides, right? These are deputy prime minister and deputy leader of opposition. And then finally, the third speakers from both the sides are government whip and opposition whip. The order in which the debate happens then, quickly reiterating this. The order in which this debate happens is this. Prime Minister goes first, then Leader of Opposition, then Deputy Prime Minister, then Deputy Leader of Opposition, then Government Whip, and then Opposition Whip. Basically, proposition starts the debate, right? This is the entry point, and opposition will end the debate. And then they will go one by one, like one speaker from one team alternated by the speakers from the other team. That's how it is. For all of you who understand the speaker structure and I'm sorry, the format structure and the speaker names, can you please say yes in the chat if you understand?
Could you repeat?
Yeah. Also, guys, please listen carefully. It's very difficult to repeat things because there's so much to cover in the 45 minutes. So basically, you have 3 speakers on each side. On one side, you have Prime Minister, first speaker. The equivalent on opposition of Prime Minister is Leader of Opposition. Then you have second speakers from both the sides. Second speaker from proposition side is called Deputy Prime Minister. Second speaker from opposition side is called Deputy Leader of Opposition. The third speaker from both the sides are called whips, whip speakers, government whip and opposition whip. Is that understood now? All right, this is the easiest bit though. It's not enough for us to know the order in which we're supposed to go. It's also not enough for us to know what these speakers are called, right? It's extremely important for us to understand what these speakers are supposed to do and how you're supposed to coordinate as a team. Arush, yes.
What about reply speeches?
We are doing away with reply speeches for the qualifiers.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. So basically, what we're going to do is now like understand the speaker roles basically for absolute beginners. So as the prime minister and leader of opposition, so like if you're absolute beginners, just remember this. PM and LO speeches are very, very similar because PM is literally the equivalent of LO and vice versa. So you're supposed to set up the debate initially. What does setup mean? you're basically okay. So I think I will be explaining setup in detail through framing. Wait, let me. Okay, let's do it right now. So basically, setup includes a lot of things. None of the debates that you do happen in vacuum, right? So, like, if you're talking about education, education being the theme of this particular tournament, it doesn't happen in vacuum. Education is for human civilization, is for societies. This means that any topic that you get or any motion that you get, in fact, is supposed to be contextualized. This is called status quo, right? Aryan, mute yourself. So basically, status quo is where you try to explain where this debate is happening and why the debate is happening where it's happening. So let's say we were to debate on the motion, this house will ban digital devices in classrooms. This debate is more relevant to a place where digital devices are actually accessible to kids of very young age, right? This could probably be Western countries, but this could also be countries like India. So you could say that the context of this debate is like developing countries and even developed countries, whoever has access to like digital devices and in mass, but also the societies which are like over dependent on like a digital world, right? So how you are going to frame the debate or how you're going to set it up is by emphasizing the role of technology in the society and how society has become indispensable. So this debate is not happening in some Africa, some remote like village of Africa or India or some other developing or underdeveloped country, because digital divide and digital literacy doesn't exist there enough for this debate to happen there. This means that you're supposedly like debating on this motion only with reference to the societies which have access to these devices in the first place. So setting up of the debate includes these kinds of concepts, right? Like you set up the debate, you talk about the people who are involved in this debate, right? So for example, banning digital devices in classrooms is a debate about students. It's also a debate about teachers. It's a debate about parent-child dynamic. It's a debate about the well-being of the society at large, because people are the future, like students are the future of the country. So many stakeholders. So in the first speeches, you're also supposed to clarify who the stakeholders are, why they are important in the debate, who you support. Like we support students' well-being. We don't support teachers trying to reduce their workload. Like why should they? So if somebody wants to run an argument saying, oh, usage of tablets is good because teachers don't have to work twice as hard, but that's no benefit, right? Like we would want teachers to do well and work hard. So basically, the stakeholders who you want to benefit, why you want to benefit them, what is the principal legitimacy of what you're saying, those kind of things. Another important thing that the first speaker is held responsible for. I see a lot of you trying to unmute yourself. Please don't do that. Put it in the chat. Okay, so a lot of things that I see people skipping is that they don't try to explain what the motion is. Do that in the first speech. What do the terms in the motion mean? Like usage of digital devices in classrooms. It's not self-explanatory. You have to explain digital devices being used in classrooms. What does the manifestation of that look like? Does it mean that only the teacher is using a tablet, or does it mean that the students are using, each student has their own tablet, right? Like some institutes like Akash already do it. So basically, should you give people this tablet? Can you deactivate the tablet like in order to restrict the kind of things that you can use it for? Can you make this tablet specifically for educational purposes where everything else is blocked? So those kind of things you can clarify in the first speech, right? To give yourself like an edge in the debate. The first speakers, after all of this setup, are supposed to also share the argument that their second speaker will analyze and run. All right, that's basically first speaker or at the most fundamental level. Now, coming on to the second speakers, then the second speakers have dual responsibilities, mostly reconstruction and rebuttal. So rebuttal, as in the first speaker from the other side has already said bad things about your side, as in bad things, as in they've tried to attack your case. So you want to ensure that their rebuttals, their arguments don't stand. So you have to rebut those arguments. You have to say what they're saying is wrong for so and so reasons. But besides that, you're also supposed to analyze the argument that your first speaker did not have the time to analyze because they were busy setting up the debate. Atop that, you're supposed to reconstruct your arguments. This means that whatever your first speaker says is going to be under attack by the first speaker from the other side. It's your responsibility as a deputy to ensure that your case is resurrected and what your first speaker said makes sense still, despite the other speaker's criticism of it. So that's the second speaker's responsibility. All right. On to the third speakers then, after which I will take questions, don't worry. Um, the third speakers are whip speakers. This means that by the time the whip speeches start, a lot of the debate has already transpired. It's happened. This means that the whip speakers are not supposed to bring any new arguments. They are only supposed to compare. This is what their first speaker said. This is what my first speaker said. I think we win this particular clash because my first speaker made the point with more analysis or gave better examples or any other reason. You're basically judging the debate as a whip speaker, but the difference in your judging and the actual judge's judging is that you are slightly biased towards your side. So you are summarizing the points in such a way that the adjudicator is bound to think that your case is a better case. Okay, that's what whip speeches do. This is called weighing. And how you do weighing is through comparatives. Comparative is I compare my case with theirs and say that I am better for so and so reasons. With that, I'm done with speaker roles to the extent I could cover them in this session. Devika, can we just do the questions, both of us? All right, guys, give us a minute. I'll just see. Questions will be taken through the chat. Don't raise your hands, guys. Put them in the chat.
Nitija ma'am, are we taking questions now?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I think we can take questions about the WSDC format from the top because it's the first round of answering them.
Yeah. So, okay. So should I start saying the questions?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So can we use reference points for WSDC?
If by reference points you mean your points on a palm card or a page, yes.
What if both the first speakers have a different understanding of the topic?
Yeah, that's a good question. In that case, you're supposed to say that our understanding is more practical, it's more likely, because you're supposed to prove the legitimacy of your understanding. Sometimes you can also say that, okay, the other side's understanding is better. Just saying that the other side's understanding is better does not mean that you lost the debate. It's just finding common ground to have the debate on. So yeah.
Will we be allowed to discuss points after the topic is given?
See, you can coordinate with your teammates behind the scenes. So you can be on a WhatsApp group. You can give suggestion to your partner to run this, that. That's okay.
Okay. Are speakers for first, second, and third speakers pre-decided, or anyone can take up anytime he or she has points?
Okay, this is entirely up to your team. However, whatever you think works best for you, you can decide. And you can also keep changing speaker roles from round in every round.
Is the same sequence to be followed in all three rounds, or can we change roles among the three teammates indifferently?
You can definitely change roles among the teammates. That doesn't create a difference.
Could you please give an example of setting up the debate is?
Yeah, I just gave an example, right? If you go back to the recording of this video, you will see that I made an example about how if there is a debate on digital devices being used in the classroom, it's going to be set up in the developing countries or in the countries at least, or and the developed countries, or in societies where there is enough digital paraphernalia. Because if there is no digital devices to use because the country is so downtrodden, then this debate can't happen in those areas because it's impractical for the debate to happen in areas where digital devices aren't even accessible. So this debate is happening in technologically advanced societies. So that's how you set it up. And then you talk about the people relevant to the debate, like students, teachers. If I mean, I'm just reiterating things now. Please go back to the recording and watch. You will find an example. Yes.
For how long does a particular speaker has to speak?
I will be sharing that in the next slide.
Ma'am, our teammates and our speaker role will be told in our groups tonight.
See, team formation, we'll tell you when it happens, but we are definitely releasing motions tonight.
Are the judge paradigms going to be released?
Yeah, I mean, judge parameter of evaluation is there in this PDF itself. So you can look at it when it's given to you, like yesterday.
Could you repeat what the second speaker supposed to speak about? I think they can refer to the recording.
Yeah, guys, please refer to the recording. It's like a lot of people in the meeting. It's impossible for me to repeat. I'm sorry, I can't give individual attention, but that's how it is.
Uh, Are the motions same for both 17th and 25th?
Motions are not same for 17th and 25th. They can't be. They're different.
May the whip speaker continue debating on the moment or only summarize and weigh the arguments already presented?
Summarize, compare, don't use new arguments, maybe analyze the existing arguments. That's what the whip speech does.
So since the teams are going to be given to us, so we'll be doing debates in those teams. Yes, of course. Would we know beforehand if we are prop or op?
No, you will be told on the spot.
Okay, this is a long one. So the PM gives up a stand on the topic. DPM assures that our side has given more of a detailed and well-proved side. And the last summarizes by giving a judgment of being favor in our own side.
Yeah, yes, precisely.
If the team member count is only 2, not 3, how does the format proceed?
Okay, sometimes your partner might not be available. There might be an internet issue for which there is a provision called iron personing. Now, iron person is when my teammate is missing. Let's say me and Devika are the only people in the team. Afreen could not make it. So Devika and I will give the speech on behalf of Afreen. But how that happens is that you can't deliver consecutive speeches. This means that if Devika is going prime minister, then she cannot go deputy as well, because she is not allowed to give two speeches at once. She can go whip now. So prime minister and whip Devika will do, deputy I will do. So whoever is doing the first speech will also have to do the third speech if you are going to iron person. Iron person means you're giving, one of your members giving two speeches. So yeah, iron person policy is there.
Um, okay, this is a concern. Ma'am, my name is there in dramatic adaptation, although I have not chosen. What should I do?
Devika, this question needs to be directed to Hello Ugly. Guys, please
Yeah.
direct technical questions to Hello Ugly.
Yes. Will the teammates be from the same school? No, they are not going to be from the same school. Okay, this is again team. I just only see repeat, so I'm just finding a new one.
Yeah, so I think you can locate the new questions. Meanwhile, we'll just cover these things because I think questions are related to what we haven't covered yet.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll have another round of questions before we end this session. So rest assured, just put your question in the chat box if it's a new one. We are not going to address repeat questions. So please don't try to ask those questions. Please watch the recording. Cool. As for the time, right? The speaker order, everything remains the same for every category. Junior category will speak for 3 minutes, which is not relevant to you because junior category is not there in the room. Middle category will speak for 4 minutes here. And the senior category, because you guys are older, will speak for 6 minutes. So 3, 4, 6. Each speaker speaks for this much time, depending on the category.
Sorry, for junior, which one it is it for 7 to 9, grade 7 to 9?
No, junior category is 4th to 6th grade.
Okay.
Middle category is 7th to 9th grade, and senior category is 10th to 12th. Please make a note of it.
4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Ma'am, could you please show the grade 7 to 9 slide again?
7 to 9th is 4 minutes.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, are we getting extra time if we are losing?
Why are we unmuting ourselves, guys? Please put it in the chat. I can't like have people unmute. Just put it in the chat. WSDC is a debate format with two sides. I've already told you that. There's proposition. It's also called for the motion, opposition against the motion. So please don't get confused when people use different terminology for the same thing. It's also called government and opposition. That's all right. 3 speakers in each team, you already know. Adjudicators who adjudicate the debate based on 3 parameters. Make a note of this. Its manner, being on camera, eye contact, not reading the entire speech from a page. You can use pointers though. Ethical debating, not making hateful comments about your opponents, not trying to pull them down by saying, oh, they're such silly debaters. We see all of that happening. There is strict action against that. You might even be disqualified if you end up like attacking the person and not their case. You're supposed to attack the case and not the person. Please always be cognizant of that. There's no reply speeches, by the way. Don't refer to this. Yeah, matter is basically what you're saying. Is your analysis good? Is your argument well analyzed? Is it well substantiated through examples? Is your argument well contextualized? Is your framing good? Did you define the motion beforehand? Like, did the whip compare the speeches well? Those kind of things are going to determine how you get marked on matter. And method is, again, are the speakers synchronized? Are their speeches in sync? Or are three speakers saying 3 different things and are they contradicting each other? That's method, right? Like synchronization, teamwork, synergy, uh, prioritization of arguments, rebutting meaningfully, how you structure your speech. Are you not giving any time to your rebuttals, or are you managing rebuttals really well with the rest of the arguments that you have? Are you integrating rebuttals with the arguments when there is a need to? All those things. Garima, stop scribbling on my screen, please. Yeah, the scale, okay, how you get marked though is not as simple as like out of 10 for each of these, right? Like out of 10 for manner, out of 10 for matter, out of 10 of method. No, you will be marked from 67 to 83. A very bad speech, like if you just speak for 30 seconds, you will get a 67. If you give like an exceptionally good speech, the kind of speech that an adjudicator has never heard of, it's 83. Okay, you can't score more than 83. In between somewhere there's 75. 75 is an average score. In fact, 73 would be an average score on this range. 73 to 75 is average. Above 75 is above average. Below 75 is below average. Cool. The motions, okay, this is also important. The motions are different for each round. Please don't come asking about don't prepare from the wrong motion for the wrong round. How it's going to be is that you have one motion and another motion. So this one motion will be used for 2 rounds. How? In one round, you will be told to go for this motion. In one round, you will be told to go against this motion. You will not be told your side. It will be given on the spot. So the motion that you get for round 1 and 2, you have to prepare from both the sides. Okay. The next motion that you will get is for the 3rd round. There you will get only one side to debate on, but that side we will reveal only on the day of the tournament. That's how it is. All right. Cool. Now, points of information, guys. Points of information are basically questions that you can ask your opponents. So quickly referring to these points to understand how POIs are taken and given. POIs have to be short, under 15 seconds, which means that if you want to ask a question, it should not exceed 15 seconds because you're literally eating into the time of the person you're asking the POI from. So if I have a question, I have to write it down beforehand. And when my opponent tells me to ask a POI now, I just unmute and ask that POI quickly within 15 seconds. If you don't, they will just decline your POI. They will say you've gone beyond 15 seconds. I'm not taking it anymore. Secondly, you can only offer the POI after the initial minute and the last minute, before the last minute. What does this mean? Quickly explaining that. So let's say for middle category, there's 4 minutes of speaking time, right? From 0, like 1 second to 1 minute, you're not supposed to ask a POI. That's the time to set up the debate, right? And from 1 minute to 3 minutes though, you can ask a POI. In all of this time, you can ask POIs. From 3 to 4 minutes again, you can't ask a POI. So the first minute and the last minute is protected time. This is called protected time, in which you cannot ask a POI. In between, you can ask a POI. All right. A speaker should ideally like accept only one POI in one speech. Don't take more than that. Like even if you want to take it, you can, but then it's not necessary. It's good enough if you're taking one POI. Okay. Okay. Speakers can accept, this is important, or decline POIs. This means that it is not compulsory. It is optional. If somebody asks you a POI, if Devika asks me a POI right now, and I was delivering a speech, I can say, no, I decline your POI and continue with my speech. But if I think I want to take the POI because it might increase our chances of winning, then I will take the POI because I'm confident in what I'm saying. All right. You cannot hear the POI first and then refuse to answer. If you have taken the POI, then you better answer. So it's better to decline even before they have asked. Although this is not compulsory, the POIs, it's a great way to show engagement. This means that if you think you can take a POI and do well in responding to it, you should definitely take one. All teams should offer POIs, definitely. It increases engagement, it makes it more fun, so do that. All speakers should try to take at least 1 or 2 POIs. Again, something I clarified. Now, whenever you want to take a POI, how does it go? Let's say you're on a Zoom call. You're going to be on a Zoom call during the day of the tournament as well. I am delivering my speech and a person wants to ask me a POI from the other team. They will not just say, unmute themselves and loudly blurt it out that, oh, I have a POI. You will put it in the chat, POI. I will look at that that point that you've written POI. So you probably have a question. I will say no, decline. Then you will have to stop. You can't ask me a POI again. Or I will say that I will take the POI after 30 seconds. Then I will take it by myself. Or I can say that yes, I will take your POI. Once I have said that yes, I will take the POI, then you can ask me your question. You can't just unmute and say, okay, I have a POI, listen to me even if you're in the middle of your speech. No, that's not how it's done. All right, cool. With that, I am mostly done with what I needed to explain. You will have all of this in detail, like in the PDF, so you can refer to it. Devika, I think we can do the last round of questions and wish them luck for the practice drills tomorrow.
Yeah, and we're flooded with chats in, I can see 226, but let's get into it. Okay, so ma'am, will we follow the theme of the Hydra snare or other?
Hydra snare, yes, but that doesn't mean that you always have to talk about the Hydra. It's just education. Basically, think of it as education. Every topic is related to education. Yes.
Do we have to counter the opposition team as BPM or GM?
What? Like, it's not GM, it's government whip, GW. So you have to counter in both the speeches. You're basically supposed to support your case in every speech. So rebuttals can happen in all the speeches.
Are we allowed to read out debates from our mobile devices or must we write them?
Guys, please write them. If you want to use your mobile, it's only for pointers. So please use it only for key points. Use whatever, like use a tab, use your Google Doc. We don't mind, but you can't read it off a page, like off the device or the page. As simple as that.
6 minutes in one go, question mark.
6 minutes in one go, yes. Yeah.
Can we get extra time if we are losing?
No. This adjudicator will stop writing anything that you say after 6 minutes or 4 minutes, depending on your time limit.
Okay, I think Arnav Jain has written this question so many times. Please do not repeat that. The question is, are our teammates random or we decide who they are? So we are going to give you teams. And if you have registered as a team, then that's going to be the team. Only if you have registered as a team. So yeah, just don't repeat that question. I've just seen it so many times. Ma'am, is there any reason for 6-minute speeches instead of 8? Like how it is in a traditional WSDC debate?
No, don't refer to traditional WSDC format because this is also beginner friendly. We have made some modifications to accommodate beginners. Devika, also, whoever is asking the same question twice, please don't take it.
Yeah, I'm
So
not
don't
taking
take a
that.
question where people are trying to like repose the question multiple times to get attention. We can
Yes.
ignore that because it's a bad practice.
Yeah, okay. How will we decide whether our team is for or against the topic?
We will tell you on the spot.
how will we contact our teammates? You can take the number of the teammates from the WhatsApp group and, maybe have a conversation on a separate one. How much time is given to prepare among the teammates?
Like I said, the motions will be released today. So you can prepare with your teammates after that. You will have quite a lot of time, many hours.
If POI is basically a rebuttal, does it count?
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Marks deducted if POI is declined?
No.
Did not understand POI, so you can refer to the recording once we send it after the session is over. All the technical questions, please write to the hello@ogly.ai mail ID.
Okay, lot of Devika, while you're finding the question,
Yes,
lot of questions about mocks. Don't ask, guys, don't be ahead of yourselves. When mocks happen, I will let you know how they're going to happen. You don't have to fret about it at all. If you're supposed to join at 6 p.m., if you're instructed to join at 6 p.m., just join at 6 p.m. and leave everything else to us, right? That's the way to go about things in such a big group.
Ma'am, so we have to prepare for both sides, proposition and opposition, for round 1 and round 2. Am I right?
Precisely. Yes.
Do we lose points if we speak for longer than 6 minutes mistakenly?
Nobody is listening to you if you speak after your time limit. Adjudicators literally drop their pen. So no point. Yes.
POI are question based on the speech, right? Secondly,
Yes.
we have to prepare for one motion for one round.
Yeah.
Can POIs be asked rather to can POIs be asked to post in chat box?
Yes.
Can we leave if you have no queries? Yes, you can leave.
Yes.
Please explain. So everyone who's asking for a re-explanation can refer to the recording once we share it. After
Also, just one more thing. We have 112 people waiting. Guys, if you don't have any doubts, please leave the call. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I wish you all the best. Just like go research on the theme a little bit, understand education, what it's like. I'll see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. sharp. Thank you so much. Bye.
How do we raise POI?
I wonder कि किसी को doubt नहीं हो तो leave the
Umar, mute yourself. Yeah, POI is in the chat. You said POI in the chat. That's how you raise one.
Okay. Are marks awarded for individual merit or for the collective case given by the team?
Collective case. If you qualify as a team, or you don't qualify at all.
Will we get something to learn beforehand, or do we have to speak on the spot for 6 continuous minutes?
You already have the motion, so you will be thinking about the motion. You will be making your speech on those motions, so you will definitely have time to think beforehand.
What if we do not understand the POI? Can we ask them what you mean?
Yeah, okay, you can ask. Try to keep your POI simple, guys, so that the other person understands.
When we get the motions tonight, we don't know whether we are op or prop.
No.
I mean, we have to prepare for both for and against. Yes, that's correct. I think, yeah, I think that is pretty much it. The questions that were coming, else I'll just repeat, or everyone asking for a re-explanation, please refer to the recording at the end of the session, which will be shared on the WhatsApp group.
About the
Excuse
third
me,
round, I
ma'am.
think this is a new question. No, not like this. A new question is there about third round. Third round is basically a new motion, and you will be given a side about which you will not be told beforehand. So you're just supposed to prepare from both the sides, and one of the sides you will be told to debate on during the tournament.
And there's also one question that can a POI be asked after the speech?
No, not at all. But after the first minute and before the last minute, the fact that I'm telling you that it's before the last minute of the speech means that there is no entertainment of POIs after the last minute of the speech. All right, Devika, I think I'll just quickly take, I'll tell them to just unmute themselves one by one and take questions. It's getting really tiring to the chat. Prabhat, yes.
Yes, sir. So what I was trying to ask was that POIs are like the questions based on the speech, right? Whatever you said.
Yeah, yes. Or based on anyone's speech, yeah, whatever they're saying in its entirety.
And there are 3 rounds, right? 1, 2, 3.
Right.
So one motion for 1 round.
One motion for 2 rounds. The first one, for and against, you will go both.
All right. Okay. So there'll be 2 motions then.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Sharayu? Can't hear you. Jhanak, just fix it. Yeah, now I can.
I wanted to ask that for the middle category, is it like a total of 4 minutes, or does one person have to speak for 4 minutes?
One person for 4.
Okay.
Jhanak?
I guess I missed it. Like I had asked this question before and it was answered, but I missed. Like that when we've already registered the teammates, then those teammates will be preferred or Ogly will be giving us?
You will be given your preferences. Also, those whose doubts are cleared, please lower your hands. Kavya?
I had a doubt that when will we get our allocated teammates, because if we get our motions today, we'll have to talk about it with the teammates.
We are mindful of the fact we will be sharing them soon.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Charanpreet?
The motions which will be shared tonight for the mocks or for the 17th June qualifier.
There's no motions being shared for the mocks. Mock is going to be a very informal practice thing that we're going to do together. So it's only for the qualifiers. Shivam?
Yes, ma'am. Me and my team, all the team members have registered in the afternoon. I just messaged on the number. The like there the sir told like our competition will be on 25th. So we don't have to participate in on the 17th, right?
Yeah, no, you don't have to.
So our qualify round only there will be one, and that is on 25th, right, ma'am?
Right.
Thank you.
All right, Niharika?
So,
Lower
ma'am,
hands
if we're
if your
preparing
questions-
beforehand for the proposition and opposition, how many points should we prepare?
It's not about the number of points, it's about the quality of the point. So even if you're running one argument, but you're analyzing it really well from everybody's perspective, like the teachers, students, parents, then it's a good argument. It's not about the number of points, it's the quality that matters.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Sakshi, lower your hands, guys, if you question. Yeah, Sakshi?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that, ma'am, I'm from 25th qualifiers round. So do I have to join the mocks tomorrow, or is it like not compulsory?
No, you didn't even have to attend this training session. You will have a different training for it. But now that you've attended it, you can skip that one. It's okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Pari?
Yes, miss. I know that you said that we're supposed to contact our teammates on WhatsApp, but what if they don't respond? How are we supposed to make our speeches
We'll
connect?
troubleshoot when we come to it, right? I think they will respond because everybody is eager to debate. If they don't, then you can text hello ugly number.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ishan?
I have specified I haven't specified the name of my teammates while registering, but my teammates have. So I will be put into the same team or what?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Janvi?
Yeah, while filling the form, the criteria said partner's name. So there was one partner that was mentioned. So now in all, we need 3 participants, right, in a team?
This query should go to hello ugly. Actually, I'm not the best person to respond to that.
Okay.
Technical question. Please like text hello ugly, they will definitely come back. Devshri?
Yes, so can we write down our speech and then read it out, or just can we refer to the points?
No reading it out. It will lead to down marking. So if you're fine with being down marked in manner, then you can read it out. Otherwise, you are only supposed to refer to points.
Okay. And the motions for tomorrow's informal debate would be given on the spot.
Yes. Everybody will do a random discussion on a topic. That's how it's going to be.
Okay. Thank you.
Bhavika?
Yeah, like will we get to know that if we are on the opposing team or the proposing team on the spot, or will we get to know that beforehand?
On the spot.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, Ria.
Miss, so since we are different sections of different ages, so will we have different debates for different sections on the same day, or what is the procedure going to be?
You can just only know about your grade. So all of your 3 rounds will happen in one day. That's it.
Okay.
Aksh. Jerusha.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask if like our marks will be will our marks be deducted if we speak for like 30 seconds or a minute less than the allotted time?
No.
Okay, and I had another question that will our first and second rounds be against the same team, or
No.
are they going to
Not the same.
Okay.
Also, whoever is not named correctly, like grade 11, I'm not going to take those questions. Please rename yourself. Keravi. Anshul.
Ma'am, I had a doubt that what will be the timing for the 17th?
What will be what?
Timing for the 17th.
Timing for WSDC will be 4 p.m. onwards till 8:30.
And okay, ma'am. And for the round 3, the topic will be said on that spot only, and we have to
We will share the
prepare
topic beforehand. We will give you the side on the spot.
for round 3.
Yep.
Okay.
Avishka.
So round 1 and 2 will have the same topic, but you'll go on opposite sides, and round 3 will be a completely new topic, and you'll
Yep.
go on either one of the sides. Is that right?
That's about right. Yes.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Aditya. Can't hear you. Can anyone else hear him? No. Aditya, you might have to fix your audio, please. Zoha.
We have to be there from like 4 to 8:30 continuously, or is it we finish our rounds, we can like leave the Zoom on?
Can you come closer to your mic?
Sorry. Yeah. Do we have to be there from 4 to 8:30 continuously, or if we complete our 3 rounds, can we like leave the
So
Zoom
you're
on?
basically doing 3 rounds. It will take some time. Whenever you get a break between rounds, you can definitely drop, but make yourself available. Don't make plans of going out or something.
No, actually, we had a TWT on the same day, same timing. So I want to confirm with that thing.
Okay, so you have to be there from 4 to 8:30.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, Sia.
Hi, I wanted to ask like how much time we are required to speak like per person.
Please go back to the recording. That's already been discussed. 6 minutes for senior category.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Zainab.
Yeah, ma'am. So what are the timings for turncoat on Saturday, 17th?
It's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. morning slot.
So if we participate in both turncoat and
You'll be
this
able to do both,
WSDC
yes.
have to be morning
You're
and
occupied
evening,
throughout
right?
the day. Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Zoha, lower your hand if your question is clear.
Sorry,
Then do. Aditya, now is your audio better? No. Put it in the chat. I'll quickly take it. Oh yeah, you guys are allowed to leave. Whoever wants to leave is free to leave. It's okay. Have a
Also
good
just
day.
asking all those who are asking that where will they get the recordings? So the recordings will be shared on the WhatsApp group. So make sure you're in the group.
Yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow at 6 p.m. If I sound a little too terse, it's because there's a lot of people I'm handling. I'm not this terse in general. We'll meet tomorrow. We'll have better discussions on motions. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.